Hey guys, welcome to another video in my Celestial Odyssey week here on my channel with the new Pat McGrath Labs holiday release for 2021. Before I start the video, one of you asked me to compare an additional shade from Celestial Odyssey to previous release, and the previous release is the Metamorphosis 6-pan, which was released for holiday 2021, and the shade in question is this beautiful teal green over here. I think this is the shade Dark Paradise, but it really doesn't matter. It's not a shade that's ever been re-released, so it's not like you can get it, but for those of you who have the 6-pan, maybe it's useful to have this comparison. I do think the shade from Metamorphosis is far more green, but let's find out. So the shade I want to swatch against, or one of you asked me to swatch against, is this one over here. This is the shade Nirvana from Celestial Odyssey. So here you have the shade from Metamorphosis, here you have Nirvana, as I thought Nirvana is far more blue compared to the shade from Metamorphosis. And here is a comparison swatch for you, Metamorphosis, and this is Nirvana. This is a beautiful shade. It's like a very dark base loaded with green sparkle, so this is also a very sparkly shade. It's one of my favorites. You have already seen what a huge dent I have in mine, but as you can see, these are quite different from each other. So going into today's look, I kind of want to do something a little bit more neutral, and I actually really want to see what this shade, the shade Bronze Nova, does on its own when you put it on the eyelid. So I'm going to start the look off with the light toned, warm toned brown to my crease. Then I want to put the shade Bronze Eclipse into my outer corner. I want to put this one all over the lid, and then I'm a little bit undecided on what to do with my inner corner, so we will decide in a little bit. So I'm going to start off with a large fluffy brush and just apply this shade in my crease. You will find that I start a lot of my looks with this shade because the other two mattes in here are very like pink berry toned, and I don't really do looks with like berry tones so often, and especially right now I feel like pink and berry tones won't do my eyes any favors. So I'm just going to go in with that beautiful brown shade. I'm going to take a somewhat smaller crease brush now, somewhat fluffier one as well, and go into the shade Bronze Eclipse, which theoretically is a repeat from the Midnight Sun palette, but in practice it's a completely different eyeshadow because it's so much deeper and almost has a different tone to it. So I'm just going to apply this shade here into my outer corners and lightly blend it together with the light brown. I don't really want to make this too dark, so I'm just going to apply a bit of that shade and then just lightly blend it out. I actually think you can easily use this shade as like you know, one and done. You don't even have to apply the light brown to your crease. You can immediately go with the Bronze Eclipse shade. I think it will blend out just fine. I'm not really going to deepen the outer corners just in case I decide to wing a liner in the end. So I'm immediately going to go with my sticky base. This is Pixie Epoxy from Feline Cosmetics. It is just a glitter glue. I like to apply my metallics and especially flaky duochromy shades over glitter glue. So I'm going to apply that here in the outer corner and all the way up to Bronze Eclipse. And now just using my finger, I'm going to go into the shade Bronze Nova, which is one of the, you know, new formulas in this eyeshadow palette. It's one of those 24 karat sparkle shades. It looks like a very interesting sort of duochrome, multichrome shade. I used it in my first look, but there I used it over another eyeshadow, so I couldn't really see what it will do on its own. It's actually really beautiful on its own. It's a really beautiful shade. If you want to do like a neutral look but still have a more interesting neutral look, this is really stunning. Okay, so I have made up my mind and I am going to apply the shade Heavenly Body over here, which is another one of the 24 karat sparkle shades. So I used this shade a couple of days ago, but I used a different eyeshadow primer than my usual eyeshadow primer, and the eyeshadow primer in question is the Kiko Neutral Eye Base, which one of my friends at work let me borrow so that I can compare it to my usual eyeshadow primer, which is the MAC 24 Extend Eye Base. I've been a very loyal customer of this particular product for many years now. And what I noticed with this base is that while it did really extend the eyeshadow longevity, it's pretty much to the same point that the MAC eyeshadow base would. When I applied it on my eyelids, it felt really drying, and when I applied the shade Heavenly Body over top of that, I felt like Heavenly Body looked very textured, like it looked crinkly on my eyelids, and I've never really had that before. So I wanted to try it now with my usual routine, which is my usual MAC base. So I'm going to take this shade and apply it in the same position where I applied it also last time, which is here into my inner corner, or like inner 1/3 of the lid. I might actually apply the champagne shade all the way in my corners. Okay, so I don't really think that it was the eyeshadow base. I really think it's the amount of this eyeshadow that you apply, because on this eye I applied a bit more and I can see a little bit of texture. I'm afraid you're not really going to be able to see that on camera, but I can see a bit more texture here, whereas here I applied less and it's much smoother. So you have to be a bit careful with the shade Heavenly Body, because it can look textured on the lid. Now the next shade I want to take is this champagne one here, to put right into my inner corners, maybe even a little bit on my brow bone. Then on my lower lash line I'm going to keep it quite easy. I'm going to take the shade Bronze Eclipse again and line my lower lashes with that. Now if you were to take this look a step further, which I'm not going to do today because I just don't feel like it, you could take this deep brown shade and use it to line your lids. I think that would really tie the look together even more, but like I said, I'm just too lazy for that, so I'm kind of going to leave it at that. I think it's a really beautiful neutral look to wear. Let me know what you thought about the final look. I actually really enjoy how it turned out. I'm falling in love more and more with this eyeshadow palette because it's, I don't know, the quality is there. Really enjoying using this eyeshadow palette and discovering all of its potential and versatility. And if you like pretty neutrals with a twist, then the shade Bronze Nova is definitely going to surprise you in a very positive way, because it's one of those shades that would be considered very neutral, but then it has so much dimension when you put it on the lid that it immediately gives a very interesting effect to your look, and I'm personally really enjoying it. So before I conclude this video, maybe I will address the elephant in the room, which is why I don't really sound like my usual cheerful self. I won't really talk about it because I'm not quite there yet. Some of you may have already seen it on Instagram, because I did share it with everyone who follows me there. I will leave a few words in my description box if you would like to know what's going on. I'm warning you, obviously it's going to be a bummer, so if you don't want to be saddened, then just don't read it. But I felt like I should at least mention it and not just, you know, leave you hanging with like, why the fuck is she looking like that? To be honest, I don't think this is going to pass within, you know, the next few days or even weeks, so unfortunately I might still look like this in my future several videos. I don't really know for how long. There's really no timeline for these kind of things. But anyway, I wanted to thank you for hanging out. I hope you were able to enjoy the video nonetheless. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!